What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Mainstream Geek Podcast for March 25th, 2016. A few things before we get started. Please, if you haven't yet done so, make sure that whatever app you listen to the show on, you are subscribed to it, first of all. Also, you have rated and reviewed the show so that we can grow our listener base and get the show into more people's ears. Also, if you've been thinking about starting a little toy collection, please visit mainstreamgeek.com/nerdblock. That really helps the show out. Another thing that would really help the show out, if you would take the time to please visit mainstreamgeek.com/donate and think about maybe donating $1 or $2, maybe a little bit more if you like the show a lot. That would really help out with some of the associated costs that come along with doing this show and my other podcast, Completely Straight, which you can find at completelystraight.com. It would just really make things easier with all the hours that we put into doing these shows to really offset some of the costs that come along with doing that. So if you could do all of those things, that would be great. Today we're going to be talking about the Lego Batman trailer, and of course we're going to be talking about Batman v Superman, which is going to be the story of the week because it's not getting such great reviews from the critics. We haven't seen it yet, so this is a non-spoiler conversation about the movie. We're actually going to go see it tomorrow, and after seeing it, we're going to go straight to record an episode giving our full spoiler review if that's something you're interested in hearing. We're also going to be talking about G.I. Joe toys and the liberal agenda. Grant Gustin isn't playing Flash in the Batman v Superman universe for a very specific reason. Also, there might be some 300 sequels happening throughout history. And Disney and Marvel are threatening to boycott Georgia because of their anti-gay bill that just passed. So let's get things started and get geeky. What's going on, everybody? We've got Travis with us.
How's it going, guys?
Okay, so it's a light news day this week, probably because there's only really two things going on in the world of this genre of interest, Daredevil and Batman v Superman, right? Wouldn't you say that's a fair thing to say?
That's very true and a very fair statement.
But as always, it's Thursday, and Travis always brings the trailers with him. And
time for Travis's Trailer Corner.
Your luck on this is going to run out eventually, though. You know that, right? Because the big movies, the trailers have dropped now.
Yeah, you're right. It literally, I laughed today when I was going through my phone and I saw it, and I sent you the message of the new trailer, and I went, it's only suiting. Like I think, like you said last week, this has to be the new thing to release trailers before Friday. Like it's got to be. There's no way that we've got four trailers in 4 weeks.
Yeah. Actually, let me take a look at that real fast, because there have to be more, because I remember it being a big deal to me of how many movies were coming out. Let me just look that up here, because I wrote an article on it on the website, mainstreamgeek.com, about how many movies were coming out. So we've already gotten the, let's see, we've already gotten the final Jungle Book trailer, right? So that's not when it's going to happen. Civil War, Age of Apocalypse. I guess there's probably going to be another Ninja Turtles movie. Oh, you know what? Independence Day Resurgence. There's probably going to be a trailer for that coming up soon. We've already gotten the Ghostbusters. We'll probably get another Suicide Squad. And yeah, after that's going to be a while, because then we have Doctor Strange and Rogue One coming out. So yeah, there's probably going to be a couple more, maybe just one or two more coming out up soon with Ninja Turtles and Independence Day Resurgence. So
I bet we get another Ghostbusters. Closer to, but
yeah, I mean
they have to fix themselves.
Yeah, that's going to be something to talk about either way, because we're going to have to talk about how good or bad it is, and I'm hoping it's good this time, but I just don't smell that being a thing that's good. But the trailer that came out today was for one that's not even. I mean, I knew it was coming. I had heard about it a while ago, but it just slipped my mind with everything else happening. It's the Lego Batman trailer popped out today. And this, what did you think of the first Lego movie?
I loved the Lego movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie, wasn't it?
It was a feel-good movie. Like it just, I don't know. I liked it. My wife liked it, and it just, I mean, it hit all the right spots, from a corny soundtrack to Batman and Star Wars, which will never happen again because Disney owns it. So.
Well, I think it will, man, because Disney bought Lucasfilm back in 2012, right? That's the year that happened.
Yes.
And Star Wars was in Lego Movie, which was just 2014, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
So I bet it's licensed out somehow. I bet there's a deal with Lego to where they get to use It has to be something weird like that, a strange deal that we'll never understand because we're not entertainment lawyers. But I bet there'll be Star Wars stuff in Lego Movie too, not in Batman Lego Movie, but I bet there will be. There's also going to be one for the. There are toys, I guess. I'm unfamiliar with Lego toys. I mean, I know what they are, but I'm unfamiliar with the lines of them called Ninjato, Ninja Go, or
Ninjago. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't collect Lego or that specific line, but I know what you're talking about. They look like. I think one of them always looks like Simba from Lion King, like he's got the lion head, and I'm like, that looks like a Lion King action figure, but it has nothing to do with Lion King.
Well, okay, so in this trailer, because we both just watched it together. We both noticed that Siri was the voice talking to Batman in the Batcave.
Yes.
So
he said, "Hey, pewter." So maybe he's got an iPhone hooked up somewhere, because I did notice that too.
Exactly. So I wonder if I'm kind of fuzzy on the details of Lego Movie because I think I've only seen it one time, and it was when it first came out. But at the end of it ended up being it was in the real world, but just a little kid playing with the toys, acting out the movie, right?
Yeah, there was the kid, the dad. Will Ferrell was the dad. He had his collection of Legos. The son had his collection of Legos. And all the son wanted to do was play with the Legos because they were toys, but the dad was the collector. Like it went really deep, but also just kind of scratched the surface. It was good.
So I'm thinking, why Siri? You said it's called Pewter in this movie?
Well, yeah, he just, like, right off the bat, he went, "Hey, pewter," like for computer.
Yeah.
So, or bat pewter. So I'm assuming when he said, "Hey, pewter," and then heard the Siri voice that there's an iPhone somewhere.
Well, I'm guessing that's what's going to happen with this one. Is this one is also a little kid playing Batman with Legos at this time, which I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that, I guess, but it's just like I hope they don't treat it as though it's a surprise. Because in the last movie, it was like a cool little surprise at the end of the movie. That it was like a kind of a meta surprise.
Right.
But I think if they do it in every movie, it's going to... If they do something with the reason that Siri's voice is in it, like maybe it has a phone, and that's the reason that he's talking to the computer. As long as they're open with it from the beginning and don't treat it as a surprise at the end, I'll be fine. I'm cool with that. But it looks good. I'm going to be there for it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Lego Batman games and the Lego Marvel games. So
I've never played any of those, but I've always wanted to try the Lego Marvel game, the one we could play all of the characters in the Marvel universe.
That is my favorite Lego game, and it's not because I'm a Marvel zombie, but imagine Grand Theft Auto, but with Lego. So you go and you can do missions however you want to do missions, but you have all of Manhattan Island. North of Manhattan Island is where Xavier's School of the Gifted is. You've got the helicarrier, and it's just this open world to do whatever you want. And then there's a main story, but it's so much fun. It is. I'm not much of a gamer, but it is the first game that I completed not only 100%, but got the platinum trophy on PlayStation 4 because I just loved playing it so much.
Yeah, there's a Star Wars Lego game coming out here in June that I think I'm going to dive into. It's for The Force Awakens, so it's kind of like a retelling of The Force Awakens with Lego characters. So I think I'm going to dive into that one. I think June 28th is when that one comes out.
I think so.
Yeah. But anyways, now that we've talked about the trailer, it's a really funny trailer. There's an 18-second, I just noticed there's 18 seconds long thing with a microwave where he puts the wrong number in, and it's a really funny trailer. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, I would go check that out. It's something to look forward to. But we're talking about Batman, and tonight is the night Batman v Superman Eve for Travis and I.
Yes, in 24 hours,
24 hours exactly from right now.
We are going to be sitting... We are going to be...
The movie starts at 7:30. So, okay, so we'll probably be watching trailers before the movie.
We're probably watching the Lego Batman trailer right now.
Yeah. So, on Sunday, this past Sunday, there was a fan screening of the movie. And the reason that there was a fan screening is about a year ago, I don't remember, but you could apply to get tickets to see the first Batman v Superman trailer in theaters before anyone else got to see it, before they released it on YouTube and everything like that. And when you went to that, you could sign up, and they would give you free tickets to a fan screening when the week of the movie coming out. So you'd be the first, before even like journalists got to see it, fans got to go see this movie. And people left the movie theater getting on Twitter because they don't have to sign journalist, what do you call those,
NDAs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Non-disclosure act.
Yep. And everybody was raving about it. So I was super stoked to see. I was like, thank God. It was like a sigh of relief that everyone that was in the movie theater was loving it. But then we get to Tuesday when the embargo on reviews for journalists was lifted. And it is not looking good for this movie, man. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen a few of them. It's not looking good critic-wise.
They're all saying the same thing. The same things. They're all saying that Ben Affleck is great as Batman, which I definitely was not nervous about him as Batman.
No, I wasn't either.
I would be lying if I said when they announced Ben Affleck was going to be Batman if I wasn't surprised back when they first announced it. But, I never thought he was going to be a bad Batman. They're also saying that the editing in the movie is bad. They're saying that everything that it needs to be a good movie is there. It's just the way they put it together is bad. Also, it's way overcrowded. It has a bit of the Spider-Man 3 syndrome going with it. It's just everything. It seems as though it's everything we feared it was going to be. Also, it seems like there's they don't bother setting up any motivation for any of the characters. They say that the Batman Superman fight seems as though it could have been avoided completely by having a conversation between the two of them, which they don't even bother explaining why that doesn't happen. As of right now, it is at a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is not great. And we looked before the show, and Fantastic Four is at a 9%. But when you look at the progress, the chart for it, right before it came out, like after press viewings and everything like that, it had a 62% the day before it came out.
Oh Lord!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Not only that, man, but though everyone was really high on the movie Sunday after the fan screening, and since then, you said one of your friends in Cleveland had seen the movie now, right?
Yes.
So people have slowly begun seeing the movie already, and as of this morning, I looked, and the audience score was at 92%. Right now, the audience score is at 77%, so that one is nosediving. Now that people are out there in the public just seeing it, because I'm guessing that they're showing starting probably 5 o'clock, probably this afternoon. Showings probably started to the general public, wouldn't you say?
I think the earliest that they're allowed to show it is 6 or 7, depending on where you're at. I know the earliest showings around here were 7 o'clock.
Okay, so that can't be a result of that then.
Well, I wouldn't think so, but I know that movie theaters have to screen each film prior to viewing it, and having done that a few times, where they have to make sure that everything is okay before they present it to an audience. That is normally whoever is working at the movie theater and 1 to 2 friends that they can squeeze in, because it's always done after hours. So if they have if they're showing it in multiple theaters, they have to view each of them to make sure there's no problems. So I'd be willing to bet that this is one of those movies that more than 1 to 2 people got invited to on the down low.
Okay, so like last night, a lot of people, it's like, since there are going to be multiple theaters in every Cinemaplex, there's probably a lot of people crammed into each of those theaters, and so probably thousands of people have seen this movie at this point.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not looking good for that, man. And okay, so the deal is tomorrow we're going at 7:30 to see the movie. Right after the movie, we're driving to the studio where we record my other podcast, Completely Straight, which you can subscribe to at CompletelyStraight.com. And we're gonna sit down as a group and review the movie, spoilers and all. And I can't tell if this makes me more excited to see the movie, or if it just makes me in a good way or a bad way. I'm excited to see the movie either way.
I am too. I'm scared now hearing that it's very crowded because I don't like that, and that just stops the flow of the movie. And so if they're pointing that out, that kind of scares me a little bit. But I mean, if they're cameos and one shots, like, hey, look, there's the Flash, or there's Barry Allen, or hey, look, there's Cyborg in the background. Like, if they don't point it out, I'll be okay. But if they're trying to build all of these characters, I'm worried.
Well, one of the people whose reviews I trust, he didn't say who it was, but apparently one of the heroes that is presented as a quick cameo in this movie, the way they jammed him in here is like cringeworthy. It's like, oh God, you chose to do that just to have him in here? Like, just don't have him at that point. That's the whole problem with this movie, and I've been saying it all along, man. It's that they're trying to start off with the Avengers when they need to start off with Iron Man, honestly.
Right.
Yeah. They should have had another Superman movie with a little sprinkling of Batman in it, and to kind of set up this, because apparently this is going to need. I haven't seen it yet. I could love it tomorrow when I go see it. I don't know, but the way
tune in tomorrow, we'll find out.
Yeah, the way everybody's talking about it is that there's no setup for the fight between Batman and Superman. Not only that, but the fight itself is about 8 minutes of the movie.
Well, see, I've heard. Well, I had heard prior to the actual reviews coming out that this was originally intended as two movies, and that there are two Superman and Batman fights, and there's one in the first half, and then the main event essentially at the last half. But I heard that. Well, you may be right, because I think when I read that they're adding 30 minutes of fight footage on that rated R director's cut unrated version. So they may have cut a lot of that down.
Exactly. Well, that's another problem, man. Okay, so they have 30 minutes of fight footage. I read the same thing that you're talking about. They have 30 minutes of fight footage that they're taking out and they're going to put back in for a DVD or Blu-ray release.
Then why call it Batman versus Superman if you're going to take the Batman versus Superman part of the movie out of the movie?
I'm sure that's the plot. I'm sure when they're not fighting, it's just a bunch of like setup for them fighting. And it's not just like one 8-minute fight. It's like there's a fight in the first act where somebody loses, obviously. Then there's a rematch. And then there's a third fight that doesn't get resolved. And then apparently it leads into the really rushed end of the movie that's just a setup for another movie. See, the thing that happened when Iron Man came out was they didn't know they were going to keep going. They wanted to keep going, and they had that huge bank loan hanging over their head. So they really hoped they were going to keep going, but they didn't know. So they made a movie that if nothing else happened, it would be a good movie by itself, no matter what happened.
Right.
And they're not doing that with this movie. They're not doing that with any movies these days. It's not Warner Brothers' fault in themselves. It's every studio. It's like you can't make a movie unless it's going to have 3 or 4 parts to it coming down the line. And God, I really hope, I think you and I have talked about this before, that this isn't bad. Because if it's bad, that's not going to ruin my life, per se. But it is going to put a damper in the upcoming superhero movies, because normal people out there who don't listen to podcasts like this and aren't into the behind the scenes of everything, they don't know that this is a guy at my work one time told me he couldn't wait till Batman fought Superman in a movie. I'm sorry, Batman and Iron Man were in a movie together. And I was just like, that. I wanted to correct him, but I was
poor soul. Yeah. You know what? I want to see Batman versus Iron Man in a movie.
Right.
It'll never happen.
But that's the general public. They think it can happen, so they see this is a bad movie. They're going to start wondering, well, is Civil War going to be bad too? And then it's going to be a domino effect. So I just really hope that this is a good movie, because it's going to put a sour taste in every studio's mouth to keep bringing these movies to us. And that's just something I really don't want to happen.
I agree. I'm hesitant. Well, no, I am excited. I'm not going to lie, and I've talked to my wife about it. So it's going to be a comic movie, and I'm going to find things that I like. I just hope that the things that I like outweigh the things that I'm probably going to dislike more.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a fine movie. I'm sure I won't sit there and hate myself for watching it. But I don't know, man. This is really discouraging to hear because now I do feel a little tainted walking into it. But that tainting could be a good thing because I could walk in there expecting to see a train wreck and walk out being like, "Oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought," and it could actually boost how good the movie is in my head. So it could be a good thing for them that they're having this bad press.
That's true. 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Right. Well, let's not dive because we're going to talk about Batman v Superman for an hour to an hour and a half tomorrow night. So let's not spend the whole time talking about this tomorrow. I'm going to release that show from Completely Straight on that feed. I'll also be putting it on this feed this weekend, so you can hear it on either feed. Please, if you have a chance, go to CompletelyStraight.com, subscribe to that show on iTunes, leave it a rating and review, help that show grow too, because a rising tide. What's the saying? A rising tide does something to all ships.
Sinks all ships?
No, that wouldn't happen. A rising tide would make ships float better.
I'm thinking of bigger waves or something. Loose lips sink ships.
They do.
Not big tides.
Travis, you're super into toys.
Yes.
And collectibles. You build your own toys.
Yes, I do.
And you sent me a story this week about G.I. Joe toys and the liberal agenda.
I did. G.I. Joe right now is in a big... I personally think G.I. Joe is dead because Hasbro doesn't know what to do with the property. They just took it away from Fun something, I forget. And they're not doing JoeCon. So Hasbro is pretty much washing their hands of G.I. Joe. And this week...
What's JoeCon? Oh,
JoeCon,
G.I. Joe convention?
Yes,
okay.
JoeCon is a convention specifically for G.I. Joe. Hasbro makes exclusive action figure sets that are released there. G.I. Joe voice actors go there. Toy vendors, they do panels. Imagine a San Diego Comic-Con, but only for G.I. Joe. It's a specialty con for G.I. Joe. This year, the last one is going to be in Colorado. They've been in Springfield, Illinois. They've been in Texas. So it's been a big thing for years. I don't know exactly how long, but it's been a big thing for years. And one of the reasons that I think that we're not seeing a lot of G.I. Joe is Vinny Dallavia. I don't know exactly how to say his name. This week went on Facebook and made some very, very crazy comparisons of G.I. Joe and Cobra to America versus ISIS. I will read his quote. Remember, this is him saying this, not Jason or Travis or Mainstream Geek.
But I may agree with him. I don't know what the quote is yet, so I may agree with him.
All right, here we go. And I quote, "While I worked on this brand for 4 years and loved every minute of it, there is a harsh reality to acknowledge that there is actually a real war going on with American heroes and nameless masked terrorists. What once was fantasy has become reality. Until a new fictional nemesis that can be created, I fear parents looking at Cobra will only see ISIS. And that, gentlemen, won't sell."
Is that the whole quote?
That's his whole quote. He just made a Facebook post. So he has been high up in Hasbro for a long time. So hearing it come from him, it's not quite hearing something from the president, but like the Secretary of State, essentially, like high up on the list of important people.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? Because I've got my own thought about this real quick.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though: are G.I. Joes even still a thing? I mean, you just said that they're cutting out conventions and things like that. I know. But I don't even think it's a small thing anymore because you and I have ran into each other at Target. I always go through the toy section when I don't buy anything really when I'm there. I like to walk through. My wife sends me to do grocery shopping, and I buy certain things at Target because it's cheaper. And when I'm there, I just walk through the toy section. And I never see G.I. Joes anywhere, and I've never put any thought into it until just now as we're talking about it, but I don't remember the last time I saw a G.I. Joe toy in a store.
Well, what has happened is G.I. Joe is now a niche. Basically, Hasbro makes these toys for the adult collector in mind because Hasbro had a exclusive contract with Toys R Us. So there, once or twice a year, Hasbro would release 8 to 12 figures in 2-packs and 3-packs and a couple vehicles, but only through Toys R Us. Now, the funny thing about this is, when is the last time you've been into Toys R Us, Jason?
Inside of a Toys R Us. Oh, you know what? A couple weeks ago, because I do buy those pop figures.
Okay.
And I went in there to see if they had a specific one, and they did, but I was in and out like in 2 seconds, so I didn't even look around.
Gotcha. They have a specific. I don't want to say like adult collector section, but it's a section that's away from all of the Marvel figures, all of the Star Wars figures, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. The G.I. Joe is back there, I forget who puts them out, but those 80 replica-looking figures, like the Predator figures, Mortal Kombat figures, kind of the adult collector is in like one half of an aisle or the back corner, depending on your Toys R Us. Well, that's where all of G.I. Joe stuff is. But then 2 aisles over from the Marvel figures is a whole selection of, I think they're called America's Elite or America, like, it's a G.I. Joe ripoff. And there's a whole aisle worth of those figures. And Hasbro has just, I feel missed the market and just doesn't want to produce toys for kids anymore. Now, hearing this statement, I don't want to put any truth to it, but it could be a little column A, a little column B.
What do you mean by that?
A little column A, what I meant was like maybe they're specifically making them for adult collectors and not kids. But if this statement by Vinny is true, maybe they're not producing them because they think that parents are attaching G.I. Joe to America versus ISIS, which I think is crazy.
Man, I don't know. I think the guy you're speaking about now, he's in charge of Hasbro, you said, makes G.I. Joe toys?
Yes.
So, okay, so his view might be that, so that could be why they are not making G.I. Joes for kids anymore, or it seem to be not making G.I. Joes for kids anymore. But I don't think parents are going to look at that, because with that mindset, that means that Ninja Turtles toys, then the Foot Clan could be looked at as ISIS, and the Ninja Turtles are USA. Any kid show has a very simple... and actually anything, not just kids shows, but if we're talking about kids things right now.
Very simple premise: good versus evil.
Good versus evil, yeah. And since we're America, we view ourselves as good, and anything that is the bad guy is going to be ISIS. That's who the bad guy is right now. 10 years ago, it was Al Qaeda. 10 years before that, it was Saddam Hussein. It's, any brown, the evil side is always going to be a brown person. And so that's, I think could he be stopping for kids because of his own personal views and how he sees the market going? It could be. And is he wrong in that? He might be dumb for doing that, but, it's his business, so I can't blame a guy for following his gut on what is going to sell, but if that is why he's doing it, he needs to really open his eyes and see that, Ninja Turtles are everywhere. The toys are everywhere. And that's basically a good versus evil thing. Everything's a good versus evil thing with kids. Marvel toys sell like crazy. Star Wars, the First Order from these is obviously ISIS. Or the Nazis. I mean, goddamn, that's
right.
Shining
example of the Nazis. This has been going on since the 40s and 50s. There has always been an American nemesis, I guess, and I don't, Captain America punched Hitler in the face. So, I mean, it's not as brash as it was back in the day, but I just don't, I don't know. Because it's crazy to say this, but Jason, you and I are adults now. Like when even though...
Kind of. I mean, we're married and we have mortgages and stuff, but we still sit here and talk about cartoons and stuff on a podcast. So kind of we're adults.
But I mean, I have a son, and I knew about GI Joe growing up. I don't when I see GI Joe, I don't think ISIS, and I know my wife doesn't either, and she's not into this. So I don't know. I think he was just trying to just get his little flash in the pan, and
Yeah.
it's the era of social media. Everyone has a voice on social media, whether it's an intelligent voice or an idiotic voice.
Well, also, he's definitely right. There are some idiot parents out there who are always looking for something to be outraged about because they're bored with their lives.
This is true.
So that's a real thing too. I think he's wrong, and I think you do too. But yeah, that's a crazy thing. So, in his statement, is that saying they are going to stop making GI Joes?
No, it says that
it's just saying he doesn't see it being that's going to be interfering with them.
It's not a moneymaker because Hasbro also owns Transformers. So Hasbro puts out Transformers, so they're making more money on Transformers right now than they are on GI Joe. So I think that's why he said, where is Joe? Like, why isn't there more Joe or GI Joe? And that's why they're going other routes for revenue or money instead of GI Joe.
Yeah, man. Well, that could be it. You want to jump into something else about good versus evil real quick?
Of course.
Disney is threatening to boycott. Disney and Marvel are threatening to boycott Georgia over the anti-gay bill they just passed. Isn't that insane?
The bill, or that that they're threatening to pull out.
Okay, so here's my.
Well,
thing.
that was a horrible saying.
Yeah,
that was horrible. Pull out. Ugh.
Well, here's my thing with that. The bill, yeah, they're dickheads. They're dickheads for making the bill. But a lot of the stuff in the bill, and I am completely for gay marriage. I think I don't care who somebody fucks. As long as they're getting off, that means they're happy, and that's the only thing that matters to me. I kind of agree with stuff in the bill, if I'm being honest with you. Not everything in the bill, but I kind of agree with, like, a minister should not be forced by federal law to marry someone if he doesn't think it's right.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, I don't agree with the minister. I think church is stupid, and I think all of those things. If you listen completely straight, you probably know my views on that by now. But I don't think it's right to.
I don't think it's right to force something on anybody that you're not comfortable with.
Also, why do you want the person who's administering the happiest day in your life to be someone hating you during that? Just find somebody that's not mad at you. Now, if Georgia said no minister can marry you, then that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. But, like, why do you want somebody who doesn't want you to do what you're doing being part of your day? Just ignore that person,
Right. The greatest day of your life is ministered by
a dickhead.
Someone that's just going to be a dickhead to you, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't see the point in... What am I trying to say here? So, it's unfair to say that one person's beliefs are invalid because it goes against another person's beliefs as long as it's on your side. I think that's also wrong. So there is some stuff in the bill that I agree with. But I get Marvel and Disney's point because they don't want to support a state. Because what happens in Atlanta, I think Walking Dead films in Atlanta, is that right?
Yeah, Walking Dead films down there.
All the Marvel movies do.
Yeah, all the Marvel movies do. And I think the new Walking Dead, the Fear of the Walking Dead films down there.
Yeah. But there's a lot more productions than that film in Atlanta because Atlanta offers great tax incentives to film there, whereas in LA, it's they're in your pockets every 5 seconds to film in LA. The only benefit to filming in LA is it's beautiful all year round, and you can pretty much just do what you want with the weather because it's so like innocuous the way the weather is there. It doesn't never rains and it's always sunny. It's an ideal place to film, but they're always in your pocket for that reason, and your tax super heavy. So a lot of people go to different places to film, and Atlanta is the haven of that right now. I think Marvel even has its own studio down there, as does The Walking Dead. And you know what? They're filming Guardians of the Galaxy right now, so I wonder how that would affect Guardians of the Galaxy's filming schedule. If they,
I think I hate talking politics, but really politics comes down to money.
Right.
And with all of this money being threatened to pull out of the state of Georgia, I think this is going to be whitewashed and kind of thrown under the rug now that there is a significant amount of money.
Oh, because Marvel's moving to 3 movies a year, so you know what that means. Each movie is about $250 million to make. There's $750 million of tax money that you're not going to be able to tax going right out of your state. So yeah,
right.
that's a huge thing for them to lose. And plus, whoever else films there, I'm not, Sony. Does Sony make The Walking Dead? I think they do.
Does Sony make Walking Dead?
I know it's AMC, and I know that AMC and Sony makes the good shows, are the shows for AMC. And so
Sony probably gets something because they also get the, not the exclusive release of all the Walking Dead games, but they're always on PlayStation before they're on Xbox by a month or so. So Sony, they probably got their finger dipped in there somewhere.
Yeah. I just thought that was a really interesting story that Disney and Marvel are going to force legislation in Georgia as a whole in order to keep a bill from passing, and Marvel has become such a force, and Disney at this point because they have Star Wars, but they film in London actually, so that's not even like a real thing for this. But so Marvel filming in Georgia is powerful enough now to force legislation to change, and that is great to me. Could you imagine when you were a kid, if somebody told you that comic book movies are going to be powerful enough to actually change laws in the world? That's insane that's possible right now.
I would have laughed in your face and said, "There's no way, absolutely not."
Yeah,
but it's crazy, and I wish everybody the best. It's like you said, there's some things that I like and dislike, and it's a no-win situation really for anybody, but it's going to come down to the dollar, and I think they're going to just say, oh, well, let's it's politics. They'll figure something out.
Well, that's all the show notes we have today. Like I said, it's going to be a short one today because there's not a lot of news besides Batman v Superman this week. Guys, Travis and I have been talking about reviewing some comic books for the show. And what we discussed, did we talk about Standoff, Travis?
Yes,
okay.
We did.
So I would like to hear from you guys. I think we're going to go through Standoff, the new arc that's going on within the Marvel Comics universe, and start reviewing that. I want to know if you guys would rather us wait till the end and do the whole thing at one time, or if you kind of want us to do a week-by-week update to see where we're at, because they have a listing of the comics that are coming out. So if you could tweet us at Mainstream Geek, or you could get us on Facebook, let us know. Email me at jason@mainstreamgeek.com. Or if you have any opinions on anything we say, do you think we're being too lenient on the not priest, but the clergy for not wanting to marry gays? That's your opinion, but we'd like to hear from you. What do you think of Batman v Superman and the reviews coming out? Just let us know all that stuff at those 3 ways: Twitter, Facebook, and email jason@mainstreamgeek.com. We'd love to hear from you. As always, please make sure you're subscribed to the show on iTunes or Stitcher. iTunes is the big one. If you're subscribed, please make sure you're leaving a rating and review. That really helps us grow. You guys are doing great, but we have kind of stalled out on the reviews here, so I kind of want to get those going again. Also, if you guys are starting to, if you like their G.I. Joe talk today and you guys want to start your own little geek collection, please visit mainstreamgeek.com/nerdblock. Start your own little thing. It's like $15 a month if you do the year plan, so it's not even an expensive thing to get into. This month I got a cool Daredevil shirt. I got a Arrested Development like paper doll magnet set, and I got a pop figure. It was a damn it, what was the pop figure that I got? Oh, I got Grey Worm from Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there are a few other little trinkets in there, but there's always future garage sale fillers in there. So, sometimes it feels like the stuff that's in the box is just like I kind of think that Spencer's Outlet owns Nerd Block and it's getting rid of extra inventory sometimes. But if you got
Spencer's and Hot Topic, just kind of throw all their extras in a box.
Yeah, but if you want to check it out, go there. $15 a month. You're not really going to be out anything. Also, we are running into some server costs on Completely Straight and the show because I have my own server that hosts the show. And since we put a lot of time into doing both of these shows, this Completely Straight every week, on a Wednesday eats up 4 hours of my evening, plus getting content for the show, booking guests, booking bands. This show probably eats up, every episode probably eats up about 3 hours. So we're looking at around 10 to 15 hours a week of work I do in these podcasts. So any help you could help me financially to incur the server cost, please visit mainstreamgeek.com/donate. That would be greatly appreciated. $1 would go a long way. If everybody that listens to the show would donate $1, we'd be flush. I'd have a new house. So I only need like 10% of you to donate a dollar. But if you want to give like $5, $10, or if you just want to give like $1 a month, that would help too. That is all I have as far as the little spiel I give at the end. Travis, do you have anything you want to promote?
No. Next episode is this is a shameless plug. Next episode will be my 35th birthday.
Ooh.
You will soon hear about Happy Hessmas. So if you want to, you have a week to Happy Hessmas this host before the real Hessmas season happens.
Hessmas is my birthday. That's what I call my birthday every year. Although I don't celebrate it like I used to. I used to go pretty crazy with it, but now I don't. Because I'm old and dying soon.
So if you want to send a birthday present as a donation on the site, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, guys, so like we said, tomorrow we're going to be seeing Batman v Superman, 7:30 at the Dayton South Cinema. So if you can get tickets at this point and you want to join us, feel free. Travis and I will both be there with the rest of the guy from the Nerd Thread reviews for Completely Straight. Visit CompletelyStraight.com to subscribe to that show. You can listen to the same show on this feed of the Batman v Superman review, but listen to Completely Straight too. It's a different vibe of a show than this one has. It is more of a comedy-based, guest interview-based, and we feature a band every week. So go give that a shot. I think you'll like it. If you like the way I talk in here, but you want to hear me a little more loose, we get drunk on the show and we just talk away. Go do that.
And there's a scream room because Josh doesn't know how to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I've got. So until tomorrow, keep it geeky.